Hey everyone, Sin for the Future here, back in the attic, and today we're going to do a little pedal video again. And as the title suggests, we're talking once again about Occvlt Pedals, and we're talking once again about the Wraith Deluxe, which we have talked about before. But there's a little story there, so that's what we're getting into first, and then we'll take a little look at the pedals and all the things we need to talk about this time. So I've already covered the Wraith Deluxe before. And not that long after I covered it, Adrian from Tone Charm and Occvlt Pedals actually discontinued the Occvlt Pedals brand, which was a shame because I really like their styling and I really like their Wraith Deluxe, and it basically became a pedal you could no longer buy. So that was quite sad. So recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, Adrian actually reached out and said, hey, I'm going to restart the Occvlt brand again, and I'm going to make some changes that you might really like. Would you like to take a look at one of the new Occvlt pedals? So we set up a deal, and I get to talk about the new Wraith Deluxe in trade for my old Wraith Deluxe, which I'm both going to show side by side. Just so you can make a comparison. So it's an important note, we do have an agreement, although Adrian does not get to check this video before I release it. So it's still independent and I get to send back my old Wraith. So this is the old Wraith Deluxe, as you might have seen it before. Chunky little boy. And it has been superseded by the new Wraith Deluxe. So there's a few obvious changes. It has gotten quite a bit smaller, which is convenient, and it now features top jacks instead of side jacks. I think that's a very welcome change. Another obvious appearance change, as you can see, the graphics are still the same. The knobs are obviously a little closer because it's now a smaller housing, which is great for your pedal board because it saves a ton of space. And the LED changed color from pinkish to white. I personally prefer the pink, so I might mod it, but if you are buying one, you are getting a white light version of this pedal. So without further ado, let's put it on the pedal board, let's light them up, let me show you that they are indeed similar pedals, and let's go over the sounds just once more, because it's a great pedal and you definitely want to hear more of this pedal. Anyways, so that's my intro. Let's get down there in a non-sexual way to the pedal board and let's take a look at these pedals. Alright, so welcome to my floor and my pedal board. I don't have any fancy setup for this, just my pedal board on the floor with my mixer, so I can switch between the two pedals to show you some demonstrations. If you want to see a less talky video, I will also be uploading a separate demo all about the sounds of the Wraith with some keyboard and some guitar demos. So you have something to check out if talky videos are not your thing. So let's start off with our dry sound for this demo, which is just the guitar running straight into the tuner, through the mixer and out to my interface. Which is about as bone dry as you expect for a guitar with no effects. So let's just turn on our Wraith and let's get a little bit of sound going. Now, the Wraith Deluxe is a reverb pedal by Occvlt Pedals, which has 3 reverb modes. You have the octave up, the normal reverb, and the octave down reverb, which can be switched with this little switch here. On the old pedal, it's octave up, normal, octave down. On the new pedal, octave up is up and octave down is down, which is very convenient. Within the middle, the normal reverb. Now, for a comparison, I've dialed them in to have roughly the same sound, because there's a little variation in the potentiometers and resistors and stuff. You can have a little bit of a dispersion between the controls of every pedal. That's pretty normal. if you max everything out, the sound is exactly the same, which we will demonstrate now by switching to the second pedal. So this pedal, obviously bypass. Now you might get tiny little volume differences and tonal differences, and again, that's very normal, but as you can hear, they are the same, and that's because everything inside is in fact the same. So all the endpoints are the same as well. So if we crank up the mode control all the way and the modulation all the way, we will be exactly on the same sound. It will just sound a little bit crazy because everything is maxed out. The reason why I'm not maxing out the volume is mostly because things will distort, which isn't what we're trying to do here. So that's why we might have a little mismatch in the volume here. So I think it's pretty safe to say exactly the same pedal as one would expect, but with a big advantage in being a lot less wide, which of course is very helpful if you're trying to populate a less wide pedal board, because often you have some space at the top for the jacks, but you don't have that much sideways space to spare. And if you can replace the Wraith and another pedal with one of these smaller pedals, you can almost fit a third pedal onto your board, which is a substantial difference. So it's a very nice move. It's ever so slightly thicker, but that shouldn't be a problem at all. Downside, of course, of miniaturizing everything is that the controls are a little bit closer together. I don't think it's that big a deal. Yeah, obviously here you can fully grab the control with your entire hand if you want to. Here you need to be a little bit more precise with your finger placement. Worth it for the size difference. Only the little switch here is a little bit more finicky in between the controls, but at least it's vertical, so it's actually easier to switch than this one. So I think that's still a big win. That's basically the comparison I wanted to make. You can hear they are the same pedal. So let's just move to the new one and let's go for the controls. The controls are now volume, mix, filter, which used to be filter, mix, volume. I think this is more intuitive because if you're looking for a control, quite often it's on this side, so that works. We're going to leave the mix at 50. I think that's a good point. And the volume we're not going to touch as well. So let's talk a little bit about the filter. Now, the filter cuts off high frequency content from your signal going into the reverb. So this can be used to dull down reverb a little bit. If we turn down the modulation to something less annoying. You can hear it's quite a big difference. In general, I quite like my high stuff, but if you're going to play a lot of high stuff on your guitar, definitely nice to have to keep things a little bit more controlled, and especially with the mode control very high, you already get a lot of high content from like octave up. So it's good to have a little bit of a control to dial that back down. Down here we have the decay time, which goes from basically nothing to pretty big. I personally like to keep it basically maxed out because I like long reverb tails. But you can dial it all the way down to almost a plate-like thing. Let's just keep it high. Next to that we have the mode control. The mode control determines the amount of octave up or octave down, depending on which setting you're in. And in the center setting, the non-octave reverb mode, this is your reverb time control. So let's just quickly demonstrate that. As you can hear, it's a very substantial tail going on there. So it's a very nice little extra setting to have if you're not that much into the octave up and octave down stuff. You can just leave it in normal mode, but you can also just dial down the octave. I generally like to keep it right around the 50% point, which I think is the nicest point, but let's just quickly go through it. Same goes for octave down, lower is less effect. It's easy to see where the name Wraith comes from, because it has that kind of ghostly vibe to it. So that's the controls on the Wraith Deluxe. So there's quite a bit of range here. You can use it just as a normal reverb, you can use an octave up mode, or octave down of course, and you can dial it in all the way from fairly clean all the way to very chaotic. Always good to have range on pedals, and it also vibes very nice with stuff like chorus or flangers, just to add a little bit of extra waviness to it, which can be a great little touch. So let me just kick in the poly without any feedback, just to make it a chorus. So that's Wraith Deluxe by Occvlt Pedals. Definitely check out their site, I will link them down below. And Adrian often offers these in little packs, so if you order more than one you can often get a little discount. If you have trouble choosing between pedals by Occvlt Pedals, I can highly recommend just contacting Adrian. He's usually very helpful with giving advice as to which pedal will get the right sound for your desires. I have another Occvlt Pedal video coming up very soon about a Carrion, which is a red style distortion, in which I will also feature the Wraith a little bit again, so definitely check out that video if you want to see some more distortion sound stuff combined with the Wraith, or check out my sound demo video, in which I will also put some synthesizer demos together with the Wraith Deluxe. That's it for now. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.